Oh yeah, it's an honor every time. It's always a good chat, and I love the project. I'm a fan since day one, and there's a lot to talk about. But for people that don't recognize your beautiful face, your beautiful hair, who the hell are you?
I'm Monique from Say Ferris. This is what I look like without the wig.
Yeah, yeah. Like you now see the real Monique. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, Sim
It
Ferris
is,
has.
this is the real me. You're right. It's-
And it's crazy. Our parents didn't look at like us at all when they were at our age. We're still are young in art, but still you looking young.
Why, thank you. It's all smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
So, or makeup and good filters. Hold on, I have to grab
So
let me grab my drink.
yes, I've
Sorry, I
got.
had to grab my matcha from Starbucks.
Oh wow, I've got
What
a
are you
diet
drinking?
lemonade.
Diet lemonade.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah, I'm on the soft drink. So Monique, I'm curious. Let's get back to when you were a kid, before, way before, say Ferris. How did you start discovering music, and were there people around you that influenced you, parents, friends, into discovering band when you were young?
Well, I bring up my sister every time I talk about music because she is almost 11 years older than me and was and still is kind of like my idol. And so when I was a kid, I wanted to be just like her. So whatever she was listening to, I wanted to listen to. And she had a picture of David Bowie on her wall. She had Devo records, Go-Go's records, The Clash, The Police, and these are all records that I remember playing and falling in love with Devo. I fell in love with Devo. I fell in love with the specials because of her. And but I never, it took a long time before I even imagined myself being in a band. You know what I'm saying? Because I wanted to be a ballerina, and that's what I did for 8 years from the age of 2 to 10. And then when I was almost 11 years old, I was like, I want to do something else now. Maybe I want to sing because my dad loved to sing. He had a beautiful voice. So I expressed to my family that I was interested in singing, and they got me a voice teacher. My parents, my sister, all pitched in. They got me a voice teacher, and this voice teacher became like a second mom to me.
Wow.
And one day, yeah, her name was Marilyn Cronin. And one day she gave me a little cassette tape with her name on it and some Italian like words on there. And she said, "Would you like to hear what I do?" Because we were just studying like, current pop music and stuff like that. And I took the cassette tape home and I listened to it, and it was her singing all these famous arias, French and Italian arias. And it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever heard. And I went back from my voice lesson and I said, "Yes, I want to do what you do."
Wow.
And so at 11 years old, I started studying opera. Yeah. And I continued to study opera very seriously through junior high and high school. I studied privately. I was accepted into performing arts high school where I studied musical theater and opera. And then I went to college and I was studying opera. For the whole time, like in all throughout high school, I was going to punk and ska shows because, I just loved the music. My sisters, like, we had an 8 track of Nevermind the Bollocks when I was a little kid, and I fell in love with Sex Pistols. And we also, growing up in Orange County in Southern California, there was this like really great punk scene. Yeah, so many great bands coming out of Orange County. And there was always like punkers and rude boys in the house. My sister's friends were all like into subcultures and stuff. And so growing up, like it was such a weird dichotomy. I was like studying classically, but dressing like a punk kid, studying classically, but like listening to Devo, studying classically, but like, going to punk shows and ska shows. And in high school, all my friends were like getting into ska bands, and those were the kids I hung out with, just happened. And when I was in college, in Orange County, yeah, all my friends were like in bands. And one day, my friend Ed Campworth, who was in this band Suburban Rhythm, he Suburban Rhythm broke up, and then he started a band called Larry, which was not a ska band, but it was ska adjacent. We played with all the ska bands because of his association through Suburban Rhythm. Yeah, he asked me to sing. He's like, "Why don't you sing?" And I was like, "Huh, I never thought about that." So the next thing I knew, I was singing in bands. I was singing in Larry. I was singing in an all-girl ska band called the Shanties. And then say Ferris came around, and that's how it happened.
That's crazy.
1995. We're at our 30th anniversary this year.
And
Yeah.
congratulations. If it were easy, everybody would do it. To stick with a project like that for all those years, I think it's a huge achievement. And we need that music more than ever because it's happy, it's positive. Even if sometimes the lyrics are depressing, the music made it happy and it brings a lot of people together. And I think that's the point why we are here and why we connect through music. I think we're here to connect with more people. And say Ferris, I've connect with so much people. And you were talking about the Sex Pistol. I've got my cassette that I buff in high
Oh my
school.
gosh. Yep, that's it.
It was a huge game changer for me also. I was a metalhead before that, and that's the kind of band that I understood the energy, and
Yeah,
it really hit me like, wow, that music is way more accessible than death metal, and it's great,
yeah,
and it's furious, it got the energy, and I'm pissed off, and it represents my my thoughts and the idea I had back in the days. So, but yeah, so with all the times, being in the band, it's not getting easier as we get older. But I'm curious about the songwriting. Is it more easy for you to create now with the experience, or it's still a huge challenge?
it's much easier now. It's much easier now. And also, all of these years later, like I'm surrounded by more love and support than I've ever had, and that is what keeps me going. Like before, it was not like that. In the 90s, it was not. The industry and, this business was just, it was not conducive to me having a voice.
Yeah.
It was like be small and be quiet and don't be too big, don't be too loud. I mean, I always wonder like why didn't I sing in a punk band? Because I love punk, like and I realized that at 19 years old, I was just not what I was pre-programmed for. I was pre-programmed that like, girls didn't do punk and like, that's just not we just so like being in a ska band was the next adjacent thing for me. I also love ska, that helped, but I had so much more to say at the time. I had a lot of angst, So going to punk shows is kind of where I got it out, you know. Um, and going to ska shows, punk ska shows, ska punk shows, just kind
But
of
it's a good
similar
point. You're
vibe.
right. You mentioned the Go-Go's. Go-Go's was a huge game changer for girls because, yeah, the industry didn't want a girl back in the days for, shitty reason and not thinking
Yeah,
that they can make it like boys. But we see
right.
that, a lot of band have achieved way more than other boys band, and everything has changed with time in the 90s. But I think that it's interesting to see, when I see the hashtag more women on stage. I think we kind of opened the door. There's still a lot to do, of course, but I see way more pen. And what I appreciate and what I did with the radio show, I never like asked myself, should I put more girl bands? Because it was inject since day one because it's what I listen. It's not about gender. It's about good stuff. And what I love is that it's not a matter of getting girl there now. It's about good fucking stuff that's been released for many, many years now. It's
Fucking
always been
stuff.
there, but It's still sad that it was a fight back in the days, and that because of that you restrain yourself at some point. But say Ferris is way more than just a ska band.
Totally. Yeah, and we cover like Too Drunk to Funk, Too Drunk to Fuck by the Dead Kennedys. We cover, Operation Ivy songs. It's because, I mean, there's reasoning for it. It's because I love that music. And, I was friends with a member of Dead Kennedys who passed away, and that's kind of how I remember him, is through this funny,
HP.
fun song that reminds me of DH.
Yeah.
Um, but that being said, like even listening to the Go-Go's, they were punkers at heart, but their music was still like, we got the beat, we got the beat, we got. It wasn't like, I am an anarchist, very different. In America, it was like not polite for girls to be saying that they're the Antichrist, like it just, and if they were going to sell any records, they had to pull their shit back and make it like, pop music. And I'm not saying that's selling out at all, because in doing so, I got that Go-Go's record when I was a kid. That was the second concert I ever saw in my life. I was 10 years old. I saw the Go-Go's at Irvine Meadows Amphitheater in Orange County when I was 10. And I think it was 9 or 10.
Wow.
And it changed my life. So whatever, however songs, and don't forget Terry Hall wrote Our Lips Are Sealed.
Yeah.
Terry Hall from the Special. So they were in that scene, but like they did what they had to do to be able to make a statement, and it worked because little girls like me heard those records, and I lip synced to Our Lips Are Sealed at my first talent show when I was like, I don't know, 6 years old, something like that. And I was in like first grade or kindergarten, something like that. I love the Go-Go's. So, but again, there is that like difference between what was acceptable for women and what wasn't at the time, We live in a much better time now, I think, like we're so much more, like Americans are so much more willing to see women as beautiful in all their different shades, colors, shapes, sizes, volumes, and statements. We're getting better.
I
I
think
mean,
like for our generation, I'm 43, you're a little older than me, but we're kind of stuck between our parents where, they didn't think about that, and it was really repressive in many ways.
mhm.
And we got raised by some of them that were racist and everything. So some of us still got the old mentality. But when I see my kids and that generation, I've it's done. Like they don't those matters. It's not a concern anymore because they accept that they embrace the diversity and being original and being misfits and everything. So I have
Yeah.
hope for the next generation. We see that in music. I think that because of people like you, Monique. You got Emil and the Sniffer. She conquered the world so quickly, and yeah, Australian have something in their water, but she's amazing, and it's cool to see that the new generation embrace what you just said. Really fast to the point punk rock, and it's not the punk rock that we grew up in the '90s. It's different, and I love it.
Yeah, I have to agree for sure. Absolutely. It's a great, you know, for all the trouble that we're experiencing in the States right now, um, our audiences are more grateful than I've ever felt that they've ever been. They are so happy to be in a place where they feel seen, um, where just for like an hour and a half or something, they can just forget about their problems a little bit, you know? So it's more important now than it's ever been to do what we do. And it's not always about making people happy. It's about, it's about giving people the opportunity to feel something,
Yeah.
anything, whatever they want to feel in that moment, and giving them the like environment by which to feel that and to feel safe feeling that. And and I feel like, all right, this is hard. Like the kind of touring we're doing right now, and like in small club touring is hard, but it's fucking worth it, bro. So worth it.
It's so cool. And thank you, Monique, for losing money in the name of music since day one after all those years. But I feel you. I feel you. It's rough. It's not getting easier, like I said, because we're getting older. And sleeping in vans when you're 20s, it's something, but when you're 50, it's a different thing. You want a little more comfort. You need way more rest. You cannot like party the whole tour and getting reliable. You just it takes discipline, and it's rough. So thank you, because it makes people happy, like I said. And you should have the salary of a therapist, because that's what you are.
I love it. Thanks. I just know what it's like for me, like growing up, going to shows, and needed, what I needed, and I see that in the faces of our fans. I see what they need. I see them. So
I saw say
do my
Ferris for
best
the
to provide.
yeah. I saw say Ferris for the first time in 2000 at the Warp Tour. Like many of us, Warp Tour was a good place to discover band. I knew say Ferris. I heard like two or three songs, but I never saw you, and I was it. Like I remember to this day that show. It's one of my top 10. And if you remember where the show took place, it's called the Parc Jean Drapeau Park, and there was grass at that time, and it was the last year of that beautiful green grass, because the kid kind of started throwing bottle during the show, like empty
I
bottle, and there
remember.
was wave of bottle. It was crazy. I never saw that in a show in my life. And you were really surprised. I remember you were like, Montreal, you're crazy. And then the grass start, and you saw like huge lake of grass
Like
like being
seeing the
thrown.
grass. I totally remember that now. I will never forget that. So no more grass.
No, it was sand, and it started like what we call the dust Vans Warped Tour, where kids were mosh pit and the
I
dust
just
get through
dust.
everybody, so your lips were like glue of sands, and you
Dying.
and it, yeah. Yeah, because of St. Ferris,
Oh
because
my
it really happened when you play. So it teaches
God.
people the magic of seeing St. Ferris. It's a big deal. It's a I remember,
Oh
and
my
it was
God.
so
I'm dying.
catchy. Everybody were dancing, happy, the bottle and everything. It was kind of a beautiful chaos, and it's typical Montreal.
I love that. I so remember that show too. Oh my God. That's wacky.
Yeah,
That is
20. We
wild.
celebrate 25
Wow.
years in July
Great
of
memory.
that.
Amazing.
But I know a
Amazing.
lot of people miss
Oh,
that, and when you came back, that's what I heard the most. Like I never saw say Ferris, so I'm happy I'm gonna catch them live. So it's cool because a lot of people saw you, years later because of those story, behind those crazy show. And I think that the lineup right now is so solid, and the two single you released one in 2024, which was fucking amazing. And Get Dancing is yeah, it's the title, like the name of the song. You're gonna dance if you listen to it.
yeah. Have you seen the video yet?
Yeah,
The video's cute, right? We
yeah.
filmed it out on Venice Beach. I really wanted to like film something in my hometown, like there's been such devastation. The shoreline is just so different now since the fires, and it was really important for me to film something there. Just, yeah. Uh, but yeah, so that song's great. It's fun. I'm so stoked to be coming back to Canada. Stoked. You've no idea. Like we just don't come enough. I know we do not come enough. it's we need to come back more, but I think that by playing shows like this and reminding people that we're still alive is going to generate more interest, and maybe we'll be able to come back more often.
Oh, you're gonna freak out. People are waiting for that since a while. I work with a lot of festival, and the name was dropped many, many times. So it's gonna be great to have you back here. And you see, like I know it's a weird time between Canada and the U.S., but we need you. We love each other. So yeah,
And fuck that drivel.
yeah,
Like, I am not down with fucking, I'm just, if I could move to Canada right now, I probably would. I'm like, I don't have the stomach for all the shit going down in this country right now. I'm
yeah,
sorry. I love Canada too much. I love you. I love
yeah.
you. I
That
love
that's the
you. I
thing.
love
It's a
Mexico. I just love the world. I love everybody. Why can't we all just be friends?
Yeah, no border, just love music. And yeah, but music is vibration, and I think that we're all into that because we love vibration. So let's get back to
Yeah.
the base. There's no border in vibration, there's no race, no sex. It's all about the fun and being alive and being with each other's. Every show that I see, it makes me remember that I'm fucking here. A lot of people have passed, and I'm sure people around you, and Goodbye is a good example. It's a sad song in a way, but we have to celebrate that we're still alive.
I agree. I agree. And there was a period in time where like I was like, man, I want to be in a cool band like Radiohead. Why do I have to be in a ska band? And now at my age, I recognize the importance of this. Like, I get it. Now I get it because I see everybody's faces and I recognize again that like we get an hour and a half together to leave all our bullshit at the door. Those things that separate us, the things that make us feel different from each other, that shit goes away the minute you walk through that door. And all of a sudden, we're there for that one thing, which is this band, this music, and remembering something or experiencing something new, if you're a new fan. And that is the beauty of music. When I feel down, like if I watch the news for 5 minutes, I start to like want to curl up in a ball and bury myself in the dirt. Like I just want to go away. But then I remember that there is something out there that is greater than all that noise. And that is art, and that is music, and that is the things that we can bring to each other through our love of this one thing that unites us. So and then I'm hopeful again. I feel hopeful again. So that's what I'm focusing on. That's what I'm gonna
Amen.
focus on for today. Yeah, and everybody come along with me if you want to join. If you want to be on this train of good shit. And you know what? We're gonna change the world. This is
It's
how we change the world. This is how we change the world.
Monique, we're part of a dysfunctional family that is
Amen.
all about love.
It's true. But
But
there is nothing more like there isn't a feeling in the world that's like more that brings more stability to me than knowing that the minute I get on that stage, like that's all I have to think about is just this one thing that unites us, you know? So
and I mentioned before, like, thank you for still losing money and being still there, because the reality of say Ferris and a couple of Ben have been through that. I spoke with the other Ataris recently. You were when Safe Ferris arrived, it was a time where it was the explosion. So you got caught in the explosion with the mainstream and being on the radio and everything. So at some
mhm.
point you could have let the ego just, play the game, but you step up. And after that, you realize, the industry just leave us. We're, back to the DIY thing and getting fans like brick by brick, and you stick to it after all those years. You didn't care about that because you're servant of music, and that's how I see myself with the radio show. Music has saved my life so many times, getting through hard time, good time. It's the soundtrack of my memories. And yeah, so I'm kind of the servant of it. So there's no ego because without the music, I would not be myself. I would be just the guys that work, we as parents. But I find a balance between all of that and realizing that I'm not just a thing, I'm a lot of thing like everybody. And I think that's through art and creating, you understand that, yeah, that it's really important, and that's what keep you sane in a way.
For sure. Yeah. And yeah, like there were egos involved in this band back in the day. And when Steve Ferris was no longer signed to a major label, those egos fell away. Like those people that were associated with the band were like, they were pulling a sense of self-esteem from something other than what was truly important. What was truly important were the fans, you know? And so they fell away. And then when I brought the band back in 2013, that was when I was like, okay, we're going to do this for the right reasons. And listen, we may have to pay our dues because, you know, for 10 years, all our friends continued touring while Say Ferris was, I didn't know if I was ever going to be on a stage again for Say Ferris for 10 years, you know? I was like, we're going to have some dues to pay, but I'm down with it. I understand it'll be hard, but like, it's nothing I haven't done before, you know? And when you take your ego out of it and you're there for the right reasons, then you get a sense of satisfaction and like you've done a good job and you've done something good for the universe and you get to sleep easy at night, you know? It's nice. I sleep very well. I don't really worry about a lot of stuff anymore.
Yeah, because money comes, money goes, and success comes and success goes. But when you die, you don't leave with that. And I don't think it matters how much success you had on Earth, on the other side. But what matters, like I said, is the
Yeah.
connection and what you learn and the memories. And I think that every band has a place in that huge puzzle, some bigger than others, but you never knew who you influence. And I know Say Ferris, and I know you, Monique, that influence a lot of people to express themselves and try because they were at a Say Ferris show and it was like, wow, I want to do that. And they did. And that band is maybe like another, like Emil and the Sniffer, for example, or whatever. And that band will influence how much, you know, so everybody has their place. I think it's to accept it and to be happy with it. And when you do, life give you a lot of reward and surprise.
Thank you. You're so kind. I appreciate that. And you know, that was like never like I never did this for the recognition, you know. I mean, in the beginning, yeah, it was really cool that like we were on the radio and people were like playing our songs and we got signed with this big record deal and all that. And that felt good, like as a kid. But I've always been in this for the music. Always. I mean, since I was 11 years old, that's been my first love, you know? And so my legacy is being able to provide people with an experience in which they feel like they've gotten their money's worth. A. B, like, you know, like I've given them an environment by which to be feel seen and feel heard.
Wow.
So,
I love it. It's a fucking deep interview. I love it. Monique, what's happening with you outside that tour? Is there new music coming up? Get Dancing, the video is out on YouTube, and you can listen to the song on every platform. But I'm curious, what's the plan for the rest of the year?
well, we are touring a lot. We're going to Europe in a couple weeks. Yes. Going to Europe for Slam Dunk and a whole bunch of other shows, festivals and stuff. And we are then coming back to the States. We're going to do an Eastern US tour. But in July, we're releasing the next single. And a 7-inch with Get Dancing on one side and Ooh Ooh Rudy on the other side. And that's the next single, Ooh Ooh Rudy. And we're going to be filming a video for that in England.
That's so cool. That's so cool. You were talking about the special madness, and UK has something special. And that scene was so important. And you really open up to the world and embrace different culture and different style of music. And they inject it into the punk scene. So I think that with the history and everything, it's going to be a good video and a good time, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I love British ska. Like, I love British second wave ska. I love like the unity, the message of unity and playing together and being together and all of that's really important to me. And that's why, like I had Neville on the last record and this record, so we're going to be releasing a full length. That's probably over the summer. And so, yeah, that would be great.
Monique, thank you for your time. I'm curious, if people want to buy merch, what's the best way to directly encourage the band if they cannot catch you live on tour?
Just go to sayferris.com. Everything's on there. All the merch, the pre-sale for the 7-inch with Get Dancing on it. It has just gone live, but only for a couple days because once we're gonna have to shut it down for a few days while we're on the road, but then open it back up. That being said, yeah, go to sayferris.com. All the merch, all the shows, everything's on there.
Hell yeah. And if you cannot buy anything because it's rough time, the songs are available on every platform, but learn them and sing them out loud.
Yes, and there is choreography for Get Dancing. And there's free instructionals on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, and you can learn how to do the dance. So when you see the band, you can do the choreography too.
Yeah, I'm going to get in shape right after this interview and try my best.
Fortunately, it's kind of easy because if it wasn't, I wouldn't be able to do it or remember the moves or anything. So, yeah, the instructionals really spell it out and make it easy for you to be able to memorize the moves.
Monique, I really had a blast. We will, of course, have to do a part 2. And yeah, we're going to wait for you in Canada and Quebec, of course. Go on their website, buy merch. Go on their Facebook, Instagram, whatever, like them, break those algorithms out there with some Say Ferris, because it's the best.
It is.
Monique, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Likewise, Eric. Cheers.
Have fun on tour. Have a great show. And bye-bye. Thank you so much, Monique.
Bye, my love. Take care.
Bye-bye.
No more inhibition, set yourself free. Just let go, that's my only plea. A punk rock prescription is what you